What's up, guys? I'm Rob, and I'm now a TikTok thirst trap. And I'm working on the maintenance man.
What's up, guys? It's Shay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. You know what? Welcome to the Waiting Table podcast, where we rarely have our shiz together. What's up, everybody?
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Waiting Table podcast, where we have roundtable discussions about the hottest topics in weight loss with, of course, the coolest people from the bariatric community. I'm Rob, this is Murph, we got Shay, and we got you guys. So grab a chair, wind down from your busy day, and take a seat at the table. Murph, Shay, super fun episode tonight. Let's start with this. What comes to mind when I say the word sibling?
You take it, Murph. You go first, buddy.
So I would have to say my siblings and I always have a lot of fun. We really do. Genuinely, we have a lot of fun.
Sounds so genuine.
That's it.
So supportive.
How about you, Shay?
No, it is.
No, I'm kidding. Siblings. Well, I'm technically an only child. I do have a brother-in-law. He was going to be here tonight, but we've had some traveling snafus. He's cool. But family, siblings, I think of a good time. I think of some bad times that come to mind also. But at the end of the day, it's our family, right?
Right.
How about you, Rob? What do you think of?
Just support. You know, my family has been the reason I've done everything I've done, and they've supported me through everything. So as you guys will see when we talk to my brother today, it's all about support and being there. So I'm super excited about this episode today.
Yeah. Well, with that, I'll introduce our super special guest that we have today. We have Savannah, who I feel like is already my soul sister. Like her and I, we team up against Murph often already in the short amount of time. So this is Murph's little sister who's going to be on. We have Emil, who is Rob's older brother. Rob is the little baby, and he's here tonight. And then we also have some cranking music to introduce the other special guest, which is that's right. My dad, Rob, that does not surprise me, actually. He usually needs a big introduction like that. So Rob is my dad. Gringo Rob is how we will refer to him.
Yeah, I like that. Gringo Rob. Hey guys.
We can have nicknames. Oh,
you want a nickname? What do you want your nickname?
I'm gonna change it.
What do you want it to be, Emil? Whatever you put is what we have to
brother.
call you. Okay.
Rob's brother?
Yeah.
Brother, Emil.
I'll do it.
And look at Savannah. She's so cute. She's the nice, normal one of the group.
Oh, I wouldn't say normal.
Oh, don't let her.
That's a
fool you one
reach.
bit. No.
This is fun. This is the most guests that I've had on, or that I've been with on at the same time. It's fun to see everybody.
Yeah, this is awesome, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Can I say that the music in the waiting room was like really sexy?
Right? See? My brother. That's all me. That's all me.
It was.
You know.
It was a vibe.
Tell that to your brother who judged me from the very beginning, how amazing that sexy time music was.
Oh,
So-
I was judging when I
Not
said
judging
that.
you.
Oh, you were
Judging
judging.
when I
Okay.
said that.
Oh, wow. Let me change your
Well,
name back.
Rob's brother, we do have another special announcement that I think will cause even more judgment for Rob. Rob,
Oh,
the
don't
waiting
believe it.
invade, Rob. He, after lots of conversations of trying to convince me and Murph, finally convinced us to go onto TikTok. Have you seen that, Emil? That Rob's now on TikTok?
I have not seen him on TikTok. Last he talked to me about it, he said he wasn't going to. So this is news.
Yeah, it was news to us. We were blown away by it. We were like, okay, Rob, stop pushing.
News to me
He
too.
just kind of forced it on us, twisted our arm, and we couldn't stop him. We tried.
Did you catch that in the intro? I saw Shay smile. Did you hear? Did you get Murph?
Yeah, I heard that.
The thirst trap.
I liked
There's,
it. That was
Trap
good.
Rob. Yeah, we'll
Thirst trap
definitely
Rob. Oh, I should change my
be
name.
changing that
Thirst
name.
Trap Rob. Horrible.
Hey, Dad, do you know what TikTok is?
And then
I sure do, and I stay off all social media.
Unless I rope you into it. Unless you don't have a
rope me in,
choice.
yeah, you'll sucker me in sometimes, and I enjoy that. So that's cool. It's not like I didn't do a few things to you as a kid, so.
That's true. You messed me up pretty good, but it's all good. We're here now. Well, do you guys want to each kind of tell a little bit about yourself? I'm just curious to know kind of like what you're about. What do you enjoy doing in your free time? How does it feel to be a sibling or parent of crazy cool people like us? Savannah, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so my 4-year-old just walked in and
Oh.
she wanted to say hi to Uncle Chris. But yeah, so
Hi,
Chris and I
Camille.
are we're 14 years apart. So he took me to get my first cartilage piercing. He posed as my dad. After that, we went to the cemetery to learn how to drive, and I almost killed us.
It would have been fitting.
You're at the right
actually.
place. You're at
Yeah.
the right place. So
Yeah, so that's kind of our relationship. He was always like the cool older brother that just like took me to all the cool places. He always used to take me to the mall, and I was just always his tag along. We were more like friends than we were siblings because he did move out when I was younger. So he was always like the cool brother. Don't tell Johnny I said that.
Did all your like girlfriends have crushes on him? Like, did they always want to hang out to you to get to like be like, oh, Chris is so cute?
No.
Oh. Rough. Truth
No.
comes out.
That was Johnny. Johnny is more
the
I'm
heartthrob.
sure you'll meet him. Yeah, my friends loved and do love Johnny still.
I love John. Who's Dawn? Who's Dawn Murphy?
That's our mom.
Yeah,
Aw.
she smiled, and she said, "Yeah, Johnny."
My mom. We don't really know if
better
that's
looking.
Savannah's mom or not, but
She said Johnny was the better looking son.
I believe it.
Well, what about you, Rob's brother? That if that is your real name, tell us something about you.
So I don't know about me.
Yeah.
So weird. I'm not used to talking about me. I like to fish. Rob and I grew up doing a lot of outdoorsy stuff. So,
I have to say, I really love your Instagram handle. When Rob told me what it was, I was like, I'm forgetting what it is, but it had to play
Pain
with
in the
bass.
Basser.
Yeah, I love that.
Are you doing like a Tinder profile right here? Like I like fishing and I like.
That's why I'm not sure how this goes. I'm talking about myself, but
All
really,
right, go for it.
like Rob and I, it's more really about Rob and I. I think we've been close for our whole lives because I think when we were younger, we moved around a lot, and so like jumping from school to school, you like we were the only constants in each other's lives as far as friends. So like we always were pretty close, even though we're about 3 years apart. Continued even through high school. When I was in high school, I started a band while Rob was still in
Elementary school.
but he was still in my band. Like he was our drummer, and so we would jam, and we'd take him out with us wherever we went afterwards. We'd go bowling, drinking afterwards, and he'd be right there with us. What's that?
Not the drinking. We don't drink.
Oh no,
That's
no!
Underage drinking.
I was drinking. Wait.
You
No,
were still
No,
underage.
it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
There was no
both
drinking
underage.
at all
No,
of anybody.
no. But yeah, so like we always have been close and hung out a lot. Like his friends, my friends, it doesn't really matter. We're all just friends and we just hang out. And I think that's why we have a very similar sense of humor and get along so well.
I have to say, you seem a lot nicer than Rob already, though. I can
Also.
already tell.
Oh, this is my internet persona.
Yeah.
Rob's
really
brother,
mean.
the internet
Rob's brother
persona.
is nice.
That's awesome. All right, Gringo Rob, Dad, introduce yourself.
But can
Hello
you
there.
do this, Rob? Can you do this in two ways? One as yourself, and one as Shay's brother-in-law, who you were supposed to be subbing in for. Can you do both?
Well, it's kind of hard for me to do both because I live in the truth, and that wasn't truthful.
Can you guys see where I get my hashtag deep thoughts from?
I like that. That's nice.
But I'm known as Gringo Rob, and the reason I'm known as Gringo Rob is because I'm the gringo that delivers. I drive for Lyft, so I take people around, and that's kind of what I tell people, and they all get a kick out of it. But my early hanging out with Shay, I mean, you want to talk about hanging out with Shay. My early memories of hanging out with Shay was, she was just 1 year old, and I used to prop her up in front of the TV in her little Bobby, and we would watch Lion King and sing Mufasa and all that other stuff. So those are kind of good memories. And then I spent a lot of time working. Obviously, I was a printer at trade, full-time printer. So pretty much done every kind of printing there is. And then, like I said, growing up with her, she was very, very mature for her age when she was growing up. And I can remember stories of her being, how old were you when you went on that tour with Tammy? She went on a cruise with Tammy.
Probably 13 or so.
And of course, she gets on the cruise and they're all, what can we get you to drink?
But see, unlike you guys, I said no.
Oh.
I said no.
Unless Rob's brother was
I've,
there.
I've had deep dives into all of that. And, I just turned 10 years sobriety the other day, so I'm happy about it.
That's awesome.
Congrats. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. There's a whole nother world on that realm. So I'm deeply traveled and deeply versed in a lot of different things. Sometimes I like to venture down the rabbit hole, but we don't need to get into that right now. And I remember, I'll tell you a funny story about Shay.
Now it's coming out.
We used to go up to Oregon, and she'd never been on a golf course. So the first time I took her on a golf course, of course, she was, I don't know, it must have been about 10, 11 years old. And she wanted to drive the golf cart. So she was tall enough, she could do it and everything. And so I let her drive the golf cart, and we were cruising down, and there was this big ravine that really took about a 6-7 foot drop off. And she wasn't even aware of it. And we were headed right for the ravine, and we were going to go off. And at the last minute, I grabbed the wheel and we went over the bridge and made it. Just barely made it.
Wow.
And then
and you guys know the song Jesus Take the Wheel? We inspired that for Carrie Underwood. That experience is what inspired it.
And then that very same day, I let her do the cart all by herself. And we were on just a slight little hill, and I was waiting to tee off. I said, drive it around. So Shay decided to go just in circles. And she found out what centrifugal force was and threw herself out of the cart. And she went rolling around on the ground and crying. And I'm like, get up, you're okay.
I flipped the whole cart over. That was scary.
So moral of the story is do not drive with Shay.
I think I've improved a little bit.
She's much improved now, but she did have her Knievel moments in the beginning.
But was the cart okay? Were the golf clubs okay? All the
important things.
Yes, they were okay.
I do remember my capris. Okay. I had just gotten capris. That's when they were really in, and I had gotten a hole in those. I was pretty bummed about. So the capris, RIP, those didn't make it, but.
And she was very sad about that.
I was. That's why I think I was crying. Not because I was hurt. I was just like, I just got these.
Rob, do you have, so that's a pretty awesome, embarrassing moment. And Savannah and Rob's brother, I'd love to hear some other embarrassing moments if you'd like to add as well. But while we're on Shay, can you talk to us about maybe one of the best memories of Shay as she was growing up and sort of turning into a woman here and that you see in front of us?
Well, I put her through some pretty hard times, not being there for her when I should. I can remember probably us reuniting was one of my most memorable times after all of that time. And, for what I went through, it was very difficult being away from family because basically all family at that point had turned me down. And so I spent so many lonely times out on the streets, but I was always thinking about her. It was her that kept me going. So I always tell people, no matter how dysfunctional your family is, family's still worth fighting for. And the good times I have with her, I have some really crazy times with her. We had a good time making the vlog the last time. That was a pretty memorable moment, I would say. So at what age do you want these memorable moments? Because they got to go through 0 to 10 and then from about 24 to now, right?
Right.
There was a time when I wasn't around. So
So back about that vlog. So Shay asked you to go and do that social media, like a TikTok or something, right?
Yeah, I'm all game. I'm pretty easy, and she really got us with the shirts. And I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw the vlog.
Mm,
I don't think too many dads would have done that.
no.
You
where-
loved it. Well, so what happened was I said, okay, we're going to go to Universal Studios, but let's go pick out shirts for each other. And so I'm like, you don't know how mean I'm going to get. I don't know how mean you're going to get. So, so he got me this cool AC/DC shirt. I got him this shirt with Justin Bieber. His head is like the whole shirt. And so he wore that to Universal Studios the entire day. And he got so many
guys were looking and turning and laughing at me. It was pretty funny. Then I had one girl, she talked and she thought it was the greatest thing. She goes, I really like him. And I'm all, I don't even know his songs.
She has like a matching shirt. Awesome.
Well, she got her AC/DC shirt because it was supposed to be an electrifying day. See, I put a little thought in it.
I like that.
She got me Biebs for my
because you're Biebs' dad.
Baby. No,
Yeah.
baby.
There you go. How about you, Savannah? Let's hear some stuff about Murph here.
Whew, I have a lot. So I was thinking of this story. This happened in about 2009 or 10. Chris at the time was living in Ohio. We were living here in Michigan, and he came home to visit, and he wanted to show us his new fish. I don't remember what the fish's name was. It was a betta fish, and he was really excited about it. And
His name was Cornelius.
It's Cornelius.
Cornelius.
So
He's
he
this
comes
big.
in, we're all excited. We haven't seen him in a while, we're talking, and I think it's December or January. We all go to bed, we wake up the next morning, and he's like, oh crap, the fish. He left the fish in the van, and the fish froze to death. He brought the fish in, we tried to thaw it out. It was awful. So that's just one of the stories. I mean, we have a lot. Chris is hilarious. He's really like a prankster. He went through a phase where he dyed his hair red and tried to have bangs. That was interesting. I straightened it for him. It was
hot
like
pink.
a mean side bang too. It was something fierce.
Like super
It was
emo.
nice.
Is it
I
like
would
super
say-
emo?
Beautiful.
Yeah, like you had a whole bunch of this going on.
Yeah,
And it's
it
just
was
like this. Hey, I'm Chris.
it was uncomfortable for both of us.
Yeah.
I think though, your mom said R.I.P. Cornelius. I think we should just like take a moment of silence for him.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Well, how old were you when you killed Cornelius? Or neglected? Sorry, not. Killed.
So that I would have been 28
Oh my god.
ish.
My age.
I
would have been how
forgot
old
because
I
we
am
had
now.
a lot of luggage. I had just driven through a really bad snowstorm. In my defense, had a lot of luggage. We had Cornelius in like a Tupperware cup between the seats. We grabbed the luggage, grabbed the kids, ran into the house, and we were exhausted from driving through this blizzard and just totally forgot. I went out to the car the next morning to get something, there was a moment where it was just like, oh my God, where's Cornelius? Because we couldn't find a fish sitter. And he was
Like home
frozen.
alone.
They're hard to
And,
come by, especially back then.
Yeah.
those beta.
Back
yeah.
then.
Just
Back
Chris
then.
and fish does not mix at all. There's one other quick story I want to just say. So the year was 1999, 1998. And we were in Kentucky, and we were on my grandpa's farm, and my grandpa had just got a new
97.
tractor. Yeah. No, I don't know. Anyways,
It was
We
the
had
90s. That's all
it
that
was the
matters.
90s. I was like maybe 3 or 4 years old, but I do remember it clear as day. So my grandpa had just got a new tractor because he had a farm, and Chris was maybe 14, 15 at the time. That doesn't math, but he was driving around the pond, and my grandpa kept telling him, be careful of that pond. Be careful, Chris. Don't drive into that pond. Chris drives into the pond. He catches a fish along the way, brings the fish inside, and now I'm terrified of like gigantic fish because he brought in like a big paint bucket and he was like chasing me around with it. So yeah, scarred for life. That one probably died too.
So Shay drove off a bridge. She also flipped the cart. Murph taught you how to drive in a cemetery, and he drove into a pond.
Yes.
You guys have to have like a snow plow story in Canada or something.
I feel
right?
like I should drive anytime we get together. I'm driving, guys. I'm just gonna say I'm driving.
That's fair. But come on, Rob's brother, you have some dirt on him. He's like coming across like he's the angel. Like you got like Shay, Murph, you guys are such losers. Come on, Rob's brother. Like let's Emil, help us out here. What's a good story you have on Rob?
So full disclosure, Rob sent me some of these questions to kind of ponder, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, I can't think of embarrassing stories about you. They're mostly about me. And I just thought of one, I think. So
here we go.
Yeah, here it
comes. Anyone remember the movie The Ring?
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
So we had just watched this movie, and at the time, like Rob, we were still teenagers, living in our parents' place. And
first year university.
Was it university?
Yep, I was first year university.
Okay. So what ends up happening, Rob had this old TV in his room, and when you turned it on, like the connection in the cable at the back was bad. So you turn it on and it would be like snow at first when you turn it on, it's just fuzzy. And so we had just watched The Ring, and Rob, in the middle of the night, I hear this knocking on my door, and it's Rob. He's like, Kuya. Kuya is big brother in Filipino. He's like, Kuya, can I sleep in your room? I'm like, what happened? He's like, I rolled over on the remote and my TV turned on and it woke me up. And so he got terrified because, he thought that what's her face, Samira from The Ring was gonna come and get him. So he slept on my
first
floor.
year university, guys. Woo!
In all fairness, that's a scare. Like I was freaked out by that movie too. Like
right?
No shame with that. I would have been freaked out too.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That and The Grudge. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, with the like leaning over in the hair and
no, thank you.
Yeah, Asian horror movies are not good. They are scary, guys. Awesome. Thank you for sharing those amazing stories from first year university. So obviously you guys know that this is a podcast about our weight loss journeys and inspiring other people who are going through the weight loss journey, whether it be with bariatric surgery or not. And so I do want to get into some of those questions in regards to the bariatric surgery. And so I guess the first thing I would want to know is the very first time you had that conversation and you found out that your sibling or your daughter would be having bariatric surgery, what were your thoughts? Because it is a big decision, right? So we'll start at Savannah, actually.
Okay. So our first conversation, I remember we were on FaceTime and he told me he decided to, move forward with that. And honestly, I was supportive from the get-go. I saw a lot of different phases that my brother went through from the first time he lost a lot of weight and then back into where he gained the most weight. I told him, whatever is going to help you, whatever benefits you, I'm here for it 100%. I've tried to be as supportive as I possibly can because I know that, physically and mentally, it's a really draining process. So, I did my best to like check in on him, FaceTime and bug him whenever I could. That's all I could do because I didn't really know like a whole lot about the journey and about the experience. So I was like, well, I'm just going to be there. I'm going to be present. Like whatever you need, I got you. And yeah, I was excited for him. For it.
That's awesome. How about you, Gringo Rob?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you all on your journeys and your testament on what you guys have done. I mean, it's amazing. You guys have really, really changed your lifestyle. I mean, you each all have your own testimony, which is awesome. And those testimonies will help people moving forward. I'd have to say that my thought with Shay was I was very nervous with it. For reasons outside of other things. I mean, let's pick COVID, post-COVID to
Right.
get this done. That was kind of a little scary situation for me. But gosh, I look at her change now and what she's gone through. I mean, she's so much healthier. She's got so much more energy. She would like me to do it, but I think my body mass and my age weigh that I'll try a different way. And with her, I was kind of pleading because I think some things that are going to come along that maybe she wouldn't have had to do it, but we weren't there, and she didn't want to wait, and I totally get that and I understand that. And like me, when she gets an idea in her head, she's bullheaded and she's going to go through it and get it done. So that says a lot about her character, and I remember her and Dylan going off, and she couldn't do it out in Oregon where she was at, so she flew to Vegas to get it done, and that was kind of a ways, and wow, let's go do it in a party town too, and so I was nervous, but I was on the phone, and she was very good, and she had to stay I remember her staying in the hotel and having to do what she had to do, and I was very, very nervous about it, but the outcome has been awesome, and I think she's much better, and it shows, and people recognize it and see it all the time. She just came down last week to Disneyland, and I picked her up, and we had a good time. So it's like every time we get together now, we have a really awesome time. She's got a lot to share. I have way more to share than any podcast could ever take.
I'm trying to get him to do his own podcast. Leave a comment if you want to hear Gringo Rob's podcast. He's got a lot of stuff to share.
Oh yeah, with lift stories and other stories on my adventure, and they were an adventure, But I'm glad that her adventure has turned out really awesome, and I'm trying to pick off her eating styles and stuff like that. I always love going up and visiting her because she's always got something new to try, and it's like me. I'll try anything, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 times to know whether I like it or not. But she comes up with some pretty good cooked dishes too. So Shay, it's been an awesome journey to watch you, and very proud of you.
Thanks, Dad. Do you guys see where I get the tears from too? My dad's a crier. That's where I get it from.
Just emotional.
That's cool. I love it. I love that you've always embraced that. And I'm embracing it more now too.
Well, your emotion can be used to get you through some pretty tough times. So remember all the good things that happened to you, but never forget the bad, because you don't want to make the same mistakes.
That's right. Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I like that. I like the wisdom.
Yeah.
How about you, Rob's brother?
So with you, like, it's weird you asking me that question because.
Okay, hold on. Shay, ask that question.
What was weird for me, I guess, in this situation, not weird, but Rob, when we were growing up, he was always the one who was about fitness and going to the gym and lifting weights, but he was also very swingy in his weight. Like he'd have the discipline to really push himself in the gym, have a strict diet, but then he would slide and gain weight when he decided that, okay, I've reached my goal, I'm done, I'm going to take a break. But then he would kick in again and push himself again. And it was always this kind of just roller coaster with him. And there was always this feeling that, okay, yeah, he's just going to start working out again, and he'll get it back under control when he decides he's ready. But then he hurt himself. And that kind of like started a big change. And that's when he gained the most weight. And because of the injury, he was just unable to go back on that downswing or that downswing. I'm not sure which one. I've lost myself in the.
I swing.
Yeah, in the swing, but he wasn't able to lose the weight again, and it was strange being at some point where I was the brother who was more physically capable of doing things, and I was helping him do things. So that was kind of weird for me. So when he told me about this, I was all for it because it would allow him to gain back what he had lost and was no longer able to do, which for him was difficult, like young kids and being unable to spend the time with them or do physical things with them because of his physical condition at the time was difficult. And so like you combine that with just our family's history of poor health and how that ends up, it's just, yeah, for sure. I was very supportive and was happy that he had made this decision because of what opportunity I think it would present for him.
That's awesome. It's cool to hear different perspectives too, because I think the long and short of it, we're very fortunate that we had family to be supportive. And I know that's not the case for everybody who's on this journey, where there's lots of people who share their stories and their struggles, and they get a lot of like criticism and ridicule and, not nice things being said from family and a lot of judgment. And so I know for me, I feel really fortunate that I have not had that very much. Like I have had I've had a little bit of it, but for the most part, the family and friends and people that are close to me have been really supportive. And so it makes me sad when I hear that from other people of not having that support. Cause like, I just can't even imagine, like, I can't imagine. It would have been so much harder without that. So thank you to all of you guys for being there for us, because it's meant everything. I know to me, I think I'm echoing for Rob and Murph also, but
yeah, it's been
absolutely.
like
Savannah
support
has
is
been in my corner since the start. And sorry, Rob.
No, go ahead.
When I spoke with Savannah, she's just always been the probably the most supportive family member. I got a lot of support from a lot of family members, but she has been in my corner the whole journey. And you guys know, I mean, she's been on almost every one of our shows, and she loves to come on and interact and be a part of the community. So I love that. And Shay's dad and Rob's brother, you guys, I'm glad you were there to support them and in the same way, because it's not everybody has that kind of support. So it really, that's awesome. I'm glad they have you guys in their corner.
Yeah, and from my point of view, from my brother, it's important to me to have had your support, because really it's just us two left, right? Mom's gone, dad's gone.
Yep.
It's just us, right? And of course I have Mary, and I would say other than Mary, you've seen it all, and of course you've seen more of it because it's been a longer journey, but it is just us. And I know I had a little get together with some of the guys prior to me having the surgery, or when I had decided, and I had a conversation with all of them to let them know that this is sort of what I'm doing, feeling that there's going to be some judgment. We're going to have like some discussion. Everyone was very supportive, but I never ever thought that I had to have that conversation with you, because I didn't question whether you would support me or not. I knew you would. I knew that, at the end of the day, for both of us, like you brought up our family's health history, right? We have poor health in our family, and poor health habits. At the end of the day, it's poor health habits, right?
Oh, yeah.
And which I think that is consistent with a lot of us who have gone through this bariatric journey. And so it's sort of having that conversation, because oftentimes that conversation is something that we have in our own families, with me and my wife and my kids. But at the end of the day, these genetics are affecting all of us, right? So how does our experience and our journey help with your family? Because it's the same thing, it's the same blood that's coursing through our veins, right? It's the same challenges, the same genetics, right? And so I guess one of my questions is, we've all gone through this big change, right? We've all made these big changes in our life and our habits. after seeing everything that we've done, has there been a point where you would have to or had to look at some of the things that we've done and being like, maybe I should, make some changes for my family and my health? And I look at these two with Shay and Murph, and they inspire me consistently, right? And so, has there been any point where you guys have felt that inspiration to make some other changes, whether it's physical, social, whatever the case might be in your life?
Who would like to
Yeah.
go first?
Sorry, Gringo Rob, you can go. I know I'm looking at you, but we're not in the same room. So,
the funny thing on my journey and seeing this, life is about change. Okay, you can't stay constant. If you stay constant, that's when these things happen to us, and it seems like darkness kind of tends to overwhelm you in those situations where, I tell everybody, life's a learning journey. Okay, so you constantly always want to learn and grow. Watching Shay, yes, most definitely inspiring. She's really into the food side of it, and I'm no young spring chicken. Okay, so but I did play a lot of sports and growing up and stuff like that. So you can tell when your body isn't quite where it needs to be. So yes, she's inspiring me to kind of work towards maybe losing some of that. I get out and golf every weekend, but that's not the exercise I need. I need more. So that's going to be kind of a goal for me this year, to try to break the barrier down and get out and walk and do the things I need to do. But life is a journey, and it's an awesome one if you make it. Okay. Positivity is the best thing. Remember, in every negative situation you've been put through, the spirit world's trying to teach you the positive lesson. And if you get that positive lesson and own it, your journey becomes very amazing. So positivity all the way, guys. Okay. And you all have been positive, and you stuck through what you did. You guys went through some hard stuff, and look where you're at now. And now you're podcasting and sharing it with others, trying to help others. And that's really what the world needs to do, is we all need to help each other. So that's more important than any monetary thing could ever be. Okay. So keep up the good work. All of you. You're all doing great.
Dad, what's the thing that I've cooked for you that you've been surprised to like? Because I've made you a couple things where you've been like,
I've enjoyed all the things that she has these awesome substitutes for sweets and things like that.
You were going to say weird. It's cool. It's cool.
No, different. I won't use the word weird. Okay. But going through what I went through, I'm like a garbage can, so I'll try anything. And she's made some really good stuff that we've really enjoyed. I mean, it's nice. You go into her house and you can't find sugar, you can't find soda, you can't find any of the bad stuff. So when I'm there staying, it's either I got to go to the store and get my own if I'm going to have that bad stuff, or
you got to make it. I usually have the stuff to make like from scratch stuff, but yeah, I don't have a lot of processed stuff. So he'll come rolling into our house with like bags of stuff. I'm like, sorry, you got to bring it. Like, I don't buy all that anymore.
And that's true in anything. If it's not around, you're not going to use it, and so you learn other things. And then you learn that, gee, I don't really have to keep eating. I can go do some other things. There's a point I tell people: are you eating to live, or are you living to eat? And that's a big choice, So
I do have to say something funny that you left behind at your last trip. You left. Do you guys remember Big Sticks, the popsicles? Do you know what I'm talking? Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
No, they don't know what Big Sticks are.
I know. It sounds like I'm saying something dirty. It's not dirty. It's a literal popsicle, guys. Calm down.
It's a pineapple cherry or a pineapple mango.
Yeah, boy.
Rob, you're gross. Well, anyway, I'll show you guys. It's a real thing. But my dad had gotten someone he was here last time, and I've actually had a few of those. I was like, they're actually pretty darn good. So I do have sugar, and I do fine in moderation. But
well, see, back when we were kids, the ice cream man would come around, and you'd run up to the truck and you'd get your ice cream, and they still do it in some neighborhoods, but for the most part, you don't see it as much of it, But all the kids run up and and the big stick. You know that everybody liked the big stick. It was good. The other one was the Sidewalk Sunday that everybody used to like too.
That sounds
You guys
way
probably
less
don't know.
dirty. I wish that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, you should
instead.
start with the sidewalk Sunday.
Look,
I'm
Yeah,
sure
went
if we
straight
think
with the
hard
big-
enough, we can make it dirty. But
well, I carry big stick. It's my driver, my golf club. Okay, you guys go there. It's terrible.
Classic.
Good. I love it. I love it. How about you, Savannah? You know what? I'm going to be 100% honest. I have no idea what question I asked because of the conversation we
you
just
asked
had.
if your journey
Oh my
have
God.
inspired us to make changes in our
There
lives.
you go. Thank you very much. Gringo
That's the
Rob, you
one.
threw me off with that comment.
We need somebody.
story,
We need
totally.
somebody that can put the comment up on the screen for us. We gotta hire
Oh.
someone to like.
I know. We need to hire like a
Put
good
the-
IT
put the
person
question up.
instead of Rob.
Yeah.
I'm also the non-IT brother. So
Okay.
sorry, Savannah. Go on.
Oh no, it's fine. So Chris definitely has inspired me to in a few different ways. I would say as parents, we get so wrapped up in like everyday life with the kids, and like I work from home. So like I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I work from home. I never leave. So I have to remind myself sometimes, like I'm 28, and when he started getting more out into social media, like at first I'm like, what is he doing? Like, come on, you know? But after a while, I'm like, no, you know what? That's right. Like, you know, like I think putting yourself out there is the hardest thing, but realizing the support that is out there and the people that need to see you and see your journey is so important. It like surpasses all of your fear. So he has definitely challenged me to do that more. I have a TikTok, so that's a big deal for me.
Yes, you're gonna have to help me and Murph with the dancing. Rob already has it covered, so
100%.
you'll have to help us.
This is my favorite
Savannah
dance
and
move
Rob.
from here.
Savannah and Rob
No.
can go through a routine
Collab,
together.
collab.
I don't want to blow up our page too much, right? So
Right. I
No,
don't want to
yeah,
make it like
keep
an
it-
OnlyFans. That'd be bad.
I already have
Low,
one, so we're
low
good.
profile.
It's called Dem Thighs at Dem
Don't-
Thighs.
Don't come out the
Totally.
gate with them thighs just yet. You hold
Yeah.
those.
People aren't
Yeah.
ready for dem thighs
No,
yet.
Yeah.
Soon.
No.
But yeah, that I mean, outside of that, seeing him literally like pick himself up from rock bottom. I don't know if I just didn't realize he was at rock bottom or if I just got used to like the pain that he was in, as I'm sure he kind of did. Seeing him decide to change his life, and to see that, you know, his life is worth living and his kids are worth living for and his family is worth living for was really inspirational to me. Like I said, we get stuck in a rut sometimes just doing everyday mundane things. So seeing him be able to do that was very inspirational. I'm like, okay, now I need to start living my life. Like, don't let life live you, you know? Like, that's just kind of what I took from his whole journey, honestly, is like, you can do anything you want to. Give yourself the power to change.
A follow-up question for that, Savannah, too. I've had people like close in my life look back at like pictures of me and they're like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even like the way you are today is how I've always seen you. So it's weird seeing a comparison. Can you relate to that too with Murphy? With Murph, kind of where you look back and you're like, whoa, like I didn't realize he was in that much pain, or like, I just know that people have mentioned that to me. I was curious if you could relate to that too.
Absolutely. I mean, once he started putting his weight on, like putting it back on, I was kind of looking at him like, okay, like, are you okay? But we had a very tragic loss in our family and we were all just kind of going through it. I do wish I would have said more, but I also didn't want to hurt him. So that's why when he decided to make that change, I was so supportive because I really did not want to have that conversation with him. But absolutely. And it's still weird to me because he lives about an hour away from me. So when I see him, I'm still expecting to see the old him. And I'm just like, oh, I can wrap my arms around you now. Like, it still has not fully processed, to be completely honest.
Yeah, it's weird how quickly it changes. That's we all every time I see my dad, it's like, "Oh, you've shrunk a bit more." I'm like, "Yeah, this is Lil Shay now." That's what we say. He just got
Little
a new
Shay.
he got a new car that has a third row, and so I was like, we were like, "Oh, who's gonna sit in the back?" I'm like, "This Lil Shay can sit in the back now. What's up?" So
Okay.
so we got Lil Murph and Lil Rob. You guys can start saying that.
Whoa, your dad's got Big Stick and we got Little Murph and Little Rob.
That's what happens when you get
Hey, when you're
bariatric
Wow.
surgery, I
when you're
guess.
Gringo Rob.
Sorry.
So Savannah, you mentioned something, and Emil / Rob's brother. We'll get back to your reply as well. But I did want to bring this up. You mentioned something, and this is a conversation I had with my brother at one point too, and this is why. So you had talked about, maybe at some point you thought about saying something, or maybe you should have said something to bring up to Murph, but you weren't sure how he would have taken it or how it would have come across. And I know I've had this conversation with my brother briefly, and this is actually going to be my follow-up question to Murph and Shay. But in hindsight, after seeing that, because I think that's a real thing, right? I think it's hard to have that conversation because, like, as close as you are, it's sort of like, where do you start with that? And it's very easy for people to get offended. I know a lot of people, when I first started my journey, the conversation was always prefaced by, oh, I don't want to offend you, or whatever the case might be, because it's a hard topic to breach. Do any of you guys sort of feel like, in hindsight, that it's something you would have had that conversation now?
To the
Absolutely.
siblings, like,
Yeah, to the siblings.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
Sorry, Savannah, you can continue because
Okay.
because you had just
Oh, no.
finished.
I mean, I said all I needed to say. But absolutely. But I know with Chris's situation, it was a little different because he had lost so much weight previously.
Yeah.
And knowing him, he has to want to do it. Me saying it is not, I don't think it would have been beneficial. I think it would have embarrassed him, if anything, and maybe made the situation worse. I kind of just wanted to love him through it in a way, because he had to be sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Right. It's a good point, because I think that's the point that a lot of people, bring up, the people who want to stop smoking, or we think should stop smoking. My brother's wagging his finger because we've had sort of this discussion at different times too, right? Like, as much as you should stop smoking, or, at the end of the day, it's going to be a decision on whether it's the time that you want to do it or not. And I think it's the same thing with not necessarily bariatric surgery, but weight loss and a lifestyle change in general, right?
And one thing I want to call out that's like really admirable to me with you, Savannah, is like that you chose relationship and connection over that. Like, and that's something that I'm working on right now, where it's like I get so passionate and fiery and like, oh, I know this is what's going to be best for them, that sometimes I sacrifice the relationship to get my point across. But I just love how eloquently you said that, where it's like, no, like that wouldn't have been helpful. Like I just needed to show up for him and love on him. And
love him
I think
through it.
that's
I
so
love that.
cool. Yeah.
That's gonna be a
Yeah.
t-shirt with Murph on. Love him through it.
Love you through it. That's one thing.
Sexy
I've
time
learned.
music in the background, though,
Yes,
but not in this instance.
absolutely.
But okay,
Yeah.
okay,
On a
yeah.
TikTok.
While having a big stick.
Yes.
That damn.
I was actually going to comment that it's very similar. It made me think of when I quit smoking, because
Yeah,
I had
that's
smoked
exactly
for
what I
20
thought.
years. And over the years, different people talk to me about smoking. And no matter what you tell me, I already know that it's bad for me. And I know all of that. And I know I should quit. But it took me deciding that it was time for me to quit. And I quit cold turkey. Right. And my, like with Rob, I also know how strong-willed he is in so many things. And he knows what he has to do. And so it would have been, I don't know that I felt that I had to bring it up with him, or that he needed me to bring it up to him, because he knew that he needed to find a solution. Like it's odd. It feels like I'm passing the buck. And in retrospect, sometimes I feel like I did. Like, why didn't I talk to him about it sooner? right? There's a little bit of that guilt that I didn't like talk to him sooner about it, but I don't know that me telling him what he already knew was the trigger that would make him make a change.
Yeah, I agree. I think very similar to what you had said about smoking, and I think coming from our background, our culture, friggin' Filipino culture. Anyone who's listening and not watching and can tell that we're Filipino, we're stubborn people, and so we're used to our elders sort of just being very blunt and just saying, "Hey, you're fat." Like, oh, okay, sorry, I didn't know about that. And so I think a lot of times our interactions and we would take that into consideration when talking to each other. We know if I didn't know, I had been told by many of our aunts, uncles, family members, family friends in the past. I know. I look in the mirror every single day, right? And I think that's a good point that you brought up. That it's me and Savannah. You had mentioned Murph, right? Um, what what how he would react, whether that would be the catalyst to get him to change or not, and you made the decision that it wasn't because of what and I think it's the same thing with what you were mentioning, email. Like it sounds weird to say email.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Like it wouldn't have been necessarily the right thing, but it's interesting hearing it from this point of view that it was something that you guys thought about, right? Because I think when, at least I could speak for myself, when I was going through all of this, I felt very alone going through all of it, right? Obviously everyone had been affected to some extent, but I internalized that and I knew that this was up to me to change, right? I knew I had to be the one. I was one making decisions on what to eat, what not to eat, whether to move, whether not to move, right? And so it was something that I know that I felt very alone at times, even though I knew I did have the support of everyone. But I think that's more because I understood that, I'm a big supporter of you make decisions and you get the benefits from it, and you don't make decisions and you are the ones that you're the one that feels those repercussions, right? And I think that's a big part of it. You understood that that's the way I am and that's the way that I had to deal with it, and it was going to be me who had to dig myself out of this and not necessarily you constantly reminding me, right? I think that's important.
And from my perspective, like, I can totally relate to that of like feeling alone. And what I valued the most was people that were coming alongside of me, focused on connection with me. But then, like, my mother-in-law, who's going to be on the show next month, she was the first person to say to me, "Hey, have you thought about this surgery? Like, this is the research that I've done. It can help with fertility, all this stuff." And I think the other important thing to note is that her and I have a really tight knit relationship where I took that for what it was, where it wasn't that she was saying it because, she was like coming from the place of like, oh, you need to lose weight, like, blah, blah, blah. She's not like that. And so it was like, oh, interesting. I just haven't thought about that. I don't think that's something I want to do right now. But then it was like, I think maybe a year after she brought it up to me the first time, I was like, okay, yes, tell me everything you know about it. Like, I really want to look into it. So I think that's another thing to just bring up also, is that not for everybody, but it's important to take note of what type of relationship you have with that person before approaching such a sensitive topic like that. And it's not always received well, even if you do have a good relationship with someone. But I can say that I was really grateful that my mother-in-law did bring that topic up with me, even if it didn't sit in that moment, it did later, where it was really helpful.
Yeah.
The seed was planted.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
I know we jumped all over the place before you could answer, because I actually do want to hear about some of the changes that you've made in your life as well. And I not for once will I say that, oh, it's because I had bariatric surgery and I did all this stuff that, all these, 50-60%, but
Probably
not all of it.
your good looks that really
I
inspired him.
I think, yeah, like if when you look at my TikToks and you're like, damn, that's my brother.
the
Well,
thirst
it's-
traps.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing because like I get notifications on Facebook, and then it's like a post from Rob about his journey, or it's a post from Rob about like this like his workout routine that he's doing, or a post from Rob showing off his legs, and I'm just like, this fucking guy again posting. Holy shit, this guy's really active.
You don't even need a subscription for all that.
Yeah, man. I just send it to him directly. Hey, I'm thinking about posting this.
I'm like,
What do you
don't,
think?
don't. He posted anyways. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. But you've made some changes with your diet and with your health, in the
Yeah.
past few years.
Well, yeah, because so I was actually I had health issues before Rob had health issues. Like I was diagnosed in my 20s with type 2 diabetes. And this is like diabetes that had gone like undiagnosed and uncontrolled for years. So like by the time I got diagnosed, like it was way out of control. Like it was really bad. And then as a result, I've had tons of complications. I've got like kidney issues. I've got eye issues. Like I've had to have a vitrectomy, which is where they take the fluid in your eye and replace it, because I had bled into my eye so much and it wouldn't drain anymore. And that's all complications of diabetes. So like for a long time, like I struggled with trying to get that under control. And then, over time, with the help of some medication and some better like eating habits and just kind of self-control, portion control, I was able to get it more under control. And then COVID hit, and then my wife took up baking. And then all of a sudden we had like fresh loaves of sourdough alongside the sandwich bread that we would buy for the kids' lunches. And so I was just like eating all of this bread, and I think I gained like 15 pounds at the beginning of COVID. And then after a while, it just kind of clicked for me that I'm like, I can't keep doing this. Like this is just terrible. And I know that a lot of we have like genetically, we're kind of like our family's preconditioned to diabetes. Like there are multiple people in our family that have diabetes. And I know my daughter loves to eat, and like she likes my cooking and all of that stuff. So like I've been trying to work with her and my son on understanding portion control and the importance of it. And I can't teach them that to them if I'm not practicing it myself. So a big part of it is just really trying to learn to control the portions myself. And so after that kind of initial COVID weight gain, I was down to like a weight that I don't think I was at since I was in my 20s. So for me, that was like quite a big change, just in terms of like just changing my eating habits, because I'm not like Rob. I don't like working out for the sake of working out. Like I've got killer legs, but they're not like Rob's, is all I'm saying. Right. But like, I don't like that. I like doing stuff. Like I'll go out and I'll run if I'm playing a sport, but I don't like to run for the sake of running. I'll bike somewhere, but I'm not going to bike around the lake like Rob did one time for 12 hours or something from my place. Like I'll go kayaking, I'll do all of that stuff, but I don't like working out. So for me, it wasn't about the activity, although I know that I need to increase my daily activity. It was about the portion control, and that was kind of like the biggest change that I've made.
And I think, your story and a lot of our stories, right? At the end of the day, it's sort of about, I know for Murph and I specifically, because we talk about this over and over on the show, it's sort of everything we've done is for family, right? For our kids. Everything is to be able to be there for them. One, because, both of us agree that we probably wouldn't have been here for our kids in the next 10 years if we didn't make these changes. But on top of that, it's the things that we can teach them based on what we've learned and the changes. And you said it, I can't teach my kids these things if I'm not practicing them, right? And I think because of these lifestyle changes, we've been able to show them. And I know for our family specifically, a big part of that is being very honest with them about the health issues in our families, the deaths in our families. Sure, grandma and grandpa had passed, but a lot of it is because of the different practices that we grew up with and how to break that, because it has to break at some point, right? It won't otherwise. I do have one question before, because I know
Sorry,
we're already
can I actually
10.
say I didn't mean to not give Rob any credit. I should say that while I was going through this, it actually helped because Rob and I could talk about kind of simultaneously trying to make changes and teach our kids. So like I think that's something that, while not necessarily directly inspired by Rob, it was nice to have that running mate on this kind of parallel journey of trying to change ourselves to, whatever degree we're aiming for.
Sure.
Good save, Rob's brother. Good save.
Right? He's like, that guy was okay. He was there. He was in the periphery.
I'm gonna shake hands a little bit later. Don't worry.
Yeah. This question's actually going to go to Murph and Shay because we're already past 10. Everything has gone by so quickly. I loved
This
hearing
has been a
everyone's
quick
stories.
show. How did
I
that
know,
happen?
That's so cool.
So I
6
know
people, I guess.
Yeah. I know for me, there is a specific moment that I hold very dear with my brother after bariatric surgery that has some significance for me. Murph, is there any experience or any moment or anything that happened between you and Savannah post bariatric surgery after you've gotten control of everything in your life and you live this amazing life now that stands out to you and sort of exemplifies the amount of support and how well she knows you?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm, living a perfect life or anything yet.
On TikTok, you are
definitely. Every time we don't get together a whole lot, but when we do, we just make great memories. It's and even when I was, pre-op, going through the process, learning about it, we still hung out. We still had a good time. We've never not had a good time. Savannah and I, we've always gotten along for the most part. I mean, it's everybody else in our family that's crazy. Savannah and I are the only sane ones, really. So we just, latch on to each other and we're just tight. But I don't think anything has really changed from pre-op to post-op with us, or any specific memories really standing out. It's just we've always just been together, connected. We FaceTime, talk, call each other, and we're just real tight. And it's always been that way through all of it. And she's been constant and supportive and just always been there. And so yeah. Hey, get it up. Yeah.
Don't do it.
I refuse.
Yeah.
Rob's brother. You guys.
Robin, friggin'
I just want
humbugs
to
over here.
mention something really quick. It might not stand out to you, but something that stood out to me was right after your surgery, we went to the park and you were able to actually play with my kids for the first time ever. Yeah. And that was a big deal to me. I actually have a picture of you and Camille standing by the water, and he was able to pick them up, and we had a great time. And I remember just being so sentimental in that moment, but I couldn't show it. But yeah.
Yeah. That was a great memory for sure. I remember that. I picked her up. Yeah, I was holding her, which I never could do before. So it was really cool. I'm not crying, you're crying.
Quick mute. And you could tell he was getting super emotional because he kept fidgeting with the mic. He was just moving it around, and you just hear her. Gringo Rob, Shay, how about you?
Gringo Shay.
Gringo Shay, damn.
Oh, I like
No, I knew mine right away, and we already kind of talked about it. But going to Universal Studios with my dad, it's even just the it's okay, Murph. See, I'm right behind you. But even just the fact that I started a YouTube channel, and that was kind of the prompt to do this video with my dad. Yeah, we might have still gone to Universal Studios and stuff, but maybe not, because that's kind of how it started. It was hey, I really want to vlog this. Do you want to come do this with me? And being able to just be present in that moment, not worried about not being able to walk around or getting tired at the end of the day. It's like I could just fully be present and then capture all of that to watch back. I've watched that video probably 30 times just because it's such a good memory to me. So it's like thinking about without this journey, I even just that aspect of having a YouTube channel documenting my life. That's, I think, one of the things that really stands out to me. And it's a memory that I'll just hold on to forever because it was really special.
Oh, we're going to have many more, honey. Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you all to you three. I mean, you guys are sharing your knowledge, you know, and that will help somebody down the line. It'll plant a little seed. So you guys are doing the right thing. Remember, knowledge is the most important thing in this world, no matter what, because with knowledge, you can have a lot. Okay. So
knowledge and big sticks.
Oh, what?
4.
Oh
So
God, that's awesome.
it's been wonderful, you know, being on the show with all of you. You're all good people, and you know this is all about family and sharing knowledge, and this is where the world needs to head to, because this is awesome stuff you guys are doing. So thanks for having me on.
Oh,
Hit him with
pleasure. I
one of this,
appreciate it.
Dad. Go
Oh
there.
yes. I don't know.
I'll
There we
take an
go.
apple.
No, I like.
I'll take
'cause
an
you
apple.
changed the shape a little bit, and it was good.
Kind
You
of
just
like a
this.
pumpkin. The
Well, my heart's
Like,
bigger
yeah,
than you
yeah, I
guys
got
because I'm
that
a little
one
bigger
too.
now.
That's-
You have little hearts.
That's right.
So my moment is something that's very. It's interesting because we've had many of these moments in the past, and so we go fishing quite a lot. When my kids were growing up, and I was just like, I'm tired. We didn't go out fishing as much because I'd be like, I want to sleep in. But we would go, sun rising, us on the water, nothing. The water is still as ever, and we wouldn't be talking, right? That's just like the perfect morning. All you hear is the reel go, the lure whizzing in the air, and the plop as it hits the water, and then every once in a while, slight comment, short conversation. And we've had some friends who are on, like our wives and stuff, and they ask so many questions. You're like, dude, you're ruining this. This is the experience that we look forward to. And so after the surgery, we had gone out and we had been fishing, same type of thing, same as always.
Is this freshwater fishing or saltwater fishing?
Freshwater.
Freshwater. Okay.
Yes. I love that. That's the question. This guy fishes too, because that's an important question to a fisherman. And so we took our boat out. We were all out and we were fishing. And same thing. It was a super still day. I remember we were tucked in this little bay behind this island and just casting. It's quiet. And then we just ended up having those short conversations about things, but they were just a bit different. We ended up talking about sort of just things that I was looking forward to, things that he had never heard me talk about. And, you know, it was just little things. Him asking me, well, I've never heard you talk about this. Why? And it was me thinking about things from the point of view that I live now. And I realized in this conversation, these very short exchanges that we had, that life was just totally different now. Right. I couldn't compare. Like, I think the last time we were on the boat, actually fishing, just me and him, I had hurt my back and I couldn't stand while fishing. And when I went to get out of the boat, like I couldn't stand up because my back was so bad. This is when I had, I still have 4 hernia discs, but I couldn't walk and it was so bad. And, the change from then and there was so massive. And for me, it was important because the constant through all of this was the support of my brother, right? The support of the family that I had. So that for me was the big moment since my surgery that really stands out, because to me, like, those are the perfect moments, right? Being on the water, fishing in the morning, no talking, not a lot of talking, no wives talking our ears off and asking questions, and nothing changed. It was the same thing. It was me and him, and it was those conversations that are very short, but it just meant so much more to me afterwards. So yeah, that's what it was for me.
Y'all, we sound like a Hallmark card. Like, we need to sell this or something. This is so
I love
sweet.
it.
I do too.
I love the transparency. Like everybody is just like super transparent and like in their emotions. Like, yes, here for it.
I like that Rob's key memory after his surgery is a memory of waking up early to go fishing. Yet when we go portaging and I want to wake up early to go fishing, he doesn't want to wake up early to
No,
go.
man. I'm resting.
That's not as good of a
Resting.
story to tell later. That's why.
Yeah, I'm just like, I remember that time we went portaging and you're like, hey, let's go fishing. I was like, no.
Yeah, the night before
Sleepy.
you're like, wake me up. I'm like, okay. I wake up at 4. I'm like, you up? He's like, just go without me.
I'll cheer you on from here.
How about this? How about between Gringo Rob, Rob's brother, Savannah, you guys pick the last question to ask. I'll put you guys on the spot. And if you're having a hard time thinking, my dad always knows how to talk, so I have faith.
A question asked.
I'm sorry, go
just-
ahead.
Just a question asking you three about your surgeries.
About anything.
About
Yeah.
anything. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Savannah.
Okay, so I often wonder this, and I asked one of my other friends who went through the same journey. Do you have an issue or do you have a hard time with people who did not support you during the journey? And now that you are the best version of yourself, now they kind of want to like hop on the bandwagon. Do you ever feel like, well, you weren't my friend before, but now you want to be my friend now?
Yes.
Yeah,
That would make
definitely
me
been
mad
people.
personally. Like I've always just wondered that, like if there are people that are just like bandwagoning that are like, oh, now I see the end result, now I'm here for it, and you're like, where were you like 6 months ago?
Yeah, there are people in my life who wouldn't talk to me or would blow me off or didn't want anything to do with me, and then now I'm thin or doing things, and now they want to be a part of my life and in my kids' lives and things like that, and it's like I'm the same person I was then that I am now. Yeah, my mind has changed, my body's changed, but it's still me. And I wish you would have accepted me then. Wish we could have been tight then. Not that it's too little, too late, because there's grace and we can still make something, but you have to accept that this is the new me, and I'm not going to accept that you just want to hang out because of the new me. Like you it's difficult to explain, but yeah, I like genuine. What did I say the other day? Genuinality.
I'm like, yes, that's a word. Yes, genuinality.
Yeah,
that's
it's definitely
one.
a word. I like being genuine, and I'd rather be around people or be with people that are also genuine. So anything else, I just kind of sift through it and keep them at arm's length or a bit of a distance. But yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that too, and it is kind of weird. Good piece of advice that a friend has given me. It sounds kind of like a bumper sticker. Maybe that's where she got it from. I don't know, to be honest. But it's, if people can't love you at your worst, they don't deserve you at your best. And I think that kind of sums it up pretty good. And so I've had that happen a couple times. One of my friends and I will joke, like, you guys, well, I don't know. I think some of you might know the movie Pretty Woman. It was the 90s back then.
Oh,
but when she's like in the
Richard
scene with
Gere.
like,
Hubba.
oh yeah, heartthrob. But she, is like goes into the shop, and the ladies are all like rude to her when she's like, looks more like a prostitute at that point. But then she comes back, full
Big
swing.
mistake.
Yeah. Big mistake. Huge.
Huge.
That's what, so like as I'm kind of going into this content creation world of like working with brands and kind of exploring that, there's been a couple that have definitely kind of snuffed me and stuff, which is cool. Like, it's fine. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. That's totally cool. But my business partner Lorraine and I will always say, well, we'll just go back and be like, big mistake, huge. So
Huge.
I love it. I love it.
I've been fortunate. I don't think anyone has not supported me, or I don't think anyone has outwardly opposed
They just
me.
say it behind your back.
Yeah, and if you say it behind my back, then that's cool. Whatever. I don't get to hear about it. But I will be 100% honest and say if they were opposed to me, especially early on, I don't know if I would have cared so much. Like I think I would have to an extent, but I was so focused on what I needed to do and where I wanted to go that I think going to bed, I would think about it and it'd bother me, but like it wouldn't really slow me down in anything like that. But yeah, no, I've been very fortunate. No one's really said anything to me to my face or in anything that I've posted on anywhere. Like, we post a lot and I have a lot of my friends and it's just like, yeah, really another picture of Rob's legs or whatever. Like, it's, oh, look, it's Rob in his underwear. So it's in a picture. And it's just like, yeah, I got it. But everyone, they'll all make fun of me, which is, I expect that. They're my best friends. I expect that. But yeah, no one's really.
I think it'll be different when we share your first thirst trap on TikTok. Everybody, just so you know, go follow TikTok. Rob made us get one.
Yeah.
Then you'll start hearing all the comments.
I know. I
can't wait.
It's so good. See, I don't have a TikTok. The waiting table has a TikTok. You two have TikToks.
The look of disappointment on Rob's brother's face.
Yeah.
Big brother is just like so disappointed in you, and that's
Right?
He's not mad.
He's just disappointed.
I'm
mad.
I'm making fun. I'm just
Yeah. Right when we log off, it's like, wow. There's gonna be some making fun. That's
Love
right.
it.
All right.
Well, shoot, gosh, this was such a fun episode. I just love getting to know all of you guys, and this was really, really special to me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And thank you guys so much. That is, way more than the time that we've got for tonight. Thanks to Savannah, Emil, I was gonna say Papa Rob, but no, Gringo Rob. Gringo Rob. Papa Rob's good too. Thanks so much for sharing your stories, your experiences, everything. It was, I enjoyed having you guys on.
It was a pleasure to be here.
Thanks so much.
Thank
It was
you.
so fun.
Thank you.
And finally, thanks to all you guys for joining us on the Waiting Table podcast, where we're serving the weight loss community
1 pound at a time.
1, 2,
Yeah, Savannah got it. Thank everybody. Are we gonna leave it with a heart or an apple? You can do my dad's apple pumpkin.
Put up there.